Welcome back to Home and Away, where we're visiting with Sally Hare Schreiner in her 1907 lovingly renovated working man's Victorian. Sally, we looked at a lot of the front main level of the home during the first segment. We're going to move into the addition toward the back that you added. And let's start with the family room. And in particular, there's another example of the repurposing of some of this original wood in that lovely fireplace mantel.
Right. Again, because it was an addition and it was not something that would be typical of this house, I wanted to do my best to give it an old feel. You'll notice there's not an island in the kitchen, and originally they were not going to have a fireplace, but I wanted a fireplace. So we again took the wood that we set aside from the baseboards and the windows and created a mantle. My builder, Dan Riedemann, that's his specialty, 19th century restorations, and he has some incredible craftsmen that they were able to, especially the Finnish carpenter, to take the wood from the original baseboards and create a fireplace, create a mantle for the fireplace, just as he created the window for the leaded window. Again, I wanted it to be as characteristic as I could. You'll see the tile around that mantle is a high gloss glazed, and that again is the type of glazed tile that they would use around a mantle.
So representative of
Right.
the period. It's obviously very helpful when you're doing an undertaking like this to have someone, you mentioned
Right.
Mr. Riedemann, who's
Right.
very skilled in preserving the integrity
Right. I mean,
of the
he
house.
knew the person to refinish these floors, because not anybody could do it. You need to appreciate it and know the quirks of dealing with 100-year-old wood.
Now that family room and kitchen area run together almost into one big room.
Right.
You mentioned that the rooms in this house characteristically are smaller. The kitchen itself doesn't have an island. It's got a very small table. Was that an adjustment for you coming from more modern homes? Are there downsides?
That room, the TV and the kitchen have a really similar feel to what I've had before, but it is smaller. It's just getting used to it is all.
The cabinets in the kitchen are rustic alder and complemented again by the white subway tile.
Right. The subway tile is just the functional tile that you would see in that area. Nothing fancy.
Coming back through the hallway, the main foyer area, there's a chest, again, your grandfather's handiwork, and then we're heading up the stairs, original tread work on those steps.
Right. Like you said, the newel post was original, the banister was original. We had to replace all the spindles, but the risers and the treads are original, and they refinished those.
You've really done a good job of incorporating your family's history into the history of this home. And at the top of the stairs, there's a washstand that was owned by your grandmother.
My father's mother.
Great-grandmother then. And you've complemented that with a great arrangement of family photos.
There's family photos of both my mother's family and my father's family. A couple were taken like 1890. Both of them were taken when my grandparents were not alive. So there was one, my grandfather was the eighth of 9 children, and there was only 5 children in that family picture. It's same with my other grandfather. They're just, again, they tell stories. The one of my grandfather hunting with his father and his brother with the rabbit and the gun, and probably 1807 when this house was built. So it just
a very nice
story.
Nice compliment. In your daughter's room, there's an armoire. Again, some of your grandfather's handiwork. Beautiful.
It was our wedding present, so that's almost 30 years old.
Even the doors to the room, you've taken great pains in making sure that they reflect
They're
the
just
period.
called 5-panel doors. So when you see them, the panels are horizontal versus vertical.
And even the doorknobs are...
The doorknobs are glass. Traditionally, the doorknobs on closets and doors on the main floor were brass, which are here, and then upstairs in the living area are glass. So everything up there, bathroom, cupboards, doors are all glass knobs.
Moving into the laundry room and the other bathroom upstairs, again we see the hexagonal tile complementing throughout.
Right, hexagon tile, subway tile, chrome, white cabinets.
Going into the master bedroom, spacious, a lot of natural light, And the master bathroom I want to call some attention to only because of the great the great artwork that we see in there.
There is.
That again has a very personalized
It does.
touch.
The design, my decorating, I guess, of the master centered around a tuffet that that Dan made me that looks like a sunflower. And so then I picked the colors, and he's also a weaver, and so there's a weaving on the bathroom of a wheat field with a little country road leading to a country fair. And then I had Joanne Renfro again paint sunflowers all over areas. So yeah.
And there's a little rabbit.
And there's a little rabbit. So yeah. So in the toilet room, you are sitting in a field of sunflowers, and there's a little rabbit looking at you.
A takeoff on your maiden
take
name.
on my name here. Yeah.
Sally, you have 2 children, and your teenage daughter still lives here.
Right.
We're going to see on that second level a spiral staircase that leads to a very special place that I'm sure she much appreciates.
It's great. The original stairs to attics, I mean, they're probably, a grown man couldn't get up it without crouching down. And we wanted to put in a gable to create a staircase, but historically we could not do that. We could not alter the outside of the house. And so the Dans, as I refer to them, decided that there's a little bedroom above the entryway that was maybe 10 by 11. That said, let's just blow it up, blow it all the way out to the rafters, and we put a spiral in there. So it creates another second floor entry. There's another reading chair up there and bookshelf. That's where the washstand is, and the spiral that leads to a teenage attic room.
Let's talk about that space because it really is remarkable. There's a great living space and also even a
little mini kitchenette, so you'd have to go down 2 flights to get, sodas and that sort of thing. What's really cool up there is that a lot of the wood original flooring was missing, but what we did was we salvaged most of it, put in carpet, and so all of the treads on the spiral have been, again, crafted by his Finnish carpenters to create the riser, the treads all the way up the spiral. And then when you get to that little kitchen area, it's the original wood that was been restored from the attic. It's a wider plank. This plank is probably 3 or 4 inches. That plank is about 6 to 8.
I get the sense in our discussions the other day that it was important for you, not just because you admired the character of this house, but you kind of see a bigger picture in all this, don't you?
I do. I guess Dan and I have always seen houses as and things that you're surrounded with more than just utilitarian. Like most of the artwork we've always had a meaning, maybe a place that we bought it or a time in our lives, and that's kind of how we see our environs as well. And that's important because it's a place where you're there all the time, and it has to be important to you.
Well, you're a woman who clearly has an eye for modern amenities, but it seems like a genuine appreciation for the past as well, right, and everything from your grandfather's handmade furniture to the home you live in. Thanks so much for sharing it with us today.
I'm glad I was able to do that.
Thank you for joining us. Don't go away. The Sunrise Garden Center Tip of the Week is coming up next. We'll see you next time on Home and Away.